Oh! Oh, hello.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 23 banned movies of each year.
Excuse me.
Better out than in, I always say, eh, Fiona? That's good. I guess not.
For this list, we'll be looking at the biggest films that were banned in one or more countries in the 21st century. Which of these movies in the list is your favorite and why? Let us know below.
Don't worry, nobody watches this stupid show. What's that ominous glow in the distance?
2000, Battle Royale.
バトルロワイヤル。そこで今日は皆さんにちょっと殺し合いをしてもらいます。最後の一人になるまでです。反則はありません。
It may be no surprise that this Japanese film about school kids fighting to the death was controversial back in the 2000s. It was given an R15+ rating, and even national politicians weighed in with criticism. A North American release proved even more problematic. The year before the movie's release, the tragic events unfolded at Columbine High School. Test audiences were repelled by the movie's graphic violence. Distributor Toei Company was told that they'd face serious legal trouble if they released the film in the US. So besides festival screenings, it wasn't shown in the country until 2011. The film was also banned in Germany in 2013, although this was later overturned.
I
2001, Zoolander. Even all these years later, we're still trying to perfect our blue steel with limited success. Any tips would be appreciated.
Blue Steel? Ferrari? La Tigra? They're the same face! Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
It's easy to forget that the main plot in this quirky male model-centric film involves an attempt to assassinate the Prime Minister of Malaysia. Unsurprisingly, Malaysia wasn't too keen on the film. In fact, Malaysia's censorship board blocked the film's release and called it definitely unsuitable. Neighboring Singapore also prohibited the movie. In the rest of Asia, references to Malaysia were changed to the sub-region Micronesia.
Thank you, Derek Zoolander, for saving my life.
Paghipeya dan Yafashun, kami mengucapkan sama-sama Perdana Menteri.
2002, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Can we panic now?
The Harry Potter series has faced considerable backlash from religious groups who accuse it of promoting witchcraft.
Harry Potter must not go back to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry this year.
In the US, there have been calls from Christian groups to ban the books from schools. There have also been outright bans in several Muslim-majority countries. The United Arab Emirates banned the book from private schools in 2002. That same year, Saudi Arabia reportedly pulled the books from shelves and banned the films too, for alleged satanic themes, violence, and being anti-family.
See, the thing is, Harry, there's some wizards, like the Malfoy family, who think they're better than everyone else because they're what people call pure blood.
That's horrible.
This prohibition wasn't lifted until 2018. Other nations that barred the franchise include the Philippines and Malaysia.
Stop!
2003, The Matrix Reloaded.
Everything begins with choice.
No, wrong. Choice is an illusion created between those with power and those without.
The Matrix franchise tackles a number of philosophical themes, including the nature of reality and of free will. This is part of what drew audiences in, but it also caused consternation in some parts. In Egypt, the first film was released, but criticized for allegedly promoting Zionism. The sequel was banned outright, with Egypt's censorship board alleging that The Matrix Reloaded was violent and that its religious themes could cause crises. In the movie, Neo meets the creator of The Matrix, the Architect, who has godlike powers, but is also an emotionless artificial intelligence.
You are here because Zion is about to be destroyed. Its every living inhabitant terminated, its entire existence eradicated.
Bullshit.
Bullshit.
Denial is the most predictable of all human responses.
2004, Shrek 2. Singer David Dorr is a national treasure in Israel. Known for his high-octave singing voice, he even represented his nation at the 2004 Eurovision. That same year, however, Shrek 2 was released, and the Hebrew dub included a joke implying that Dorr owed his high singing voice to a lack of, well, we're going to leave this one for you to figure out.
What do you reckon we should do with him?
I say we take the sword and neuter him right here. Give him the Bob Barker treatment.
Oh, madre, no, por favor. Please, I implore you. It was nothing personal, senor. I was doing it only for my family. My mother, she's sick, and my father lives off their garbage.
Dorr brought his case to court in Israel and won. The Shrek sequel was pulled from 20 cinemas in the country until a redub could replace the Dorr diss.
Excuse me.
Better out than in, I always say, eh, Fiona? That's good. I guess not.
2005, Land of the Dead.
There's nothing there, man.
The fact that a zombie film from the legendary George A. Romero was banned might not shock you. After all, these sorts of movies tend to have graphic content. However, the reasoning behind this ban isn't what you might expect.
Trouble?
In a world where the dead are returning to life, the word trouble loses much of its meaning.
Ukraine's culture ministry prohibited Land of the Dead as it could potentially bring up memories of the Holodomor famine that occurred from 1932 to 1933. The famine came on the heels of Soviet industrialization and collectivization. It's seen within Ukraine as a genocidal attempt to prevent Ukrainian independence. The famine was so severe, people reportedly resorted to cannibalism. The culture ministry reasoned that it was not something survivors would want to see on screen.
Kaufman. I'm here. I just did something that I might not have done otherwise.
2006, The Da Vinci Code.
But how could Christ have a bloodline unless...
Mary was pregnant at the time of the crucifixion.
2006's Borat was banned throughout the Arab world, but the Da Vinci Code faced bans from all around the globe. Admittedly, a film that's about a Vatican conspiracy and the descendants of Jesus Christ was always going to ruffle some feathers. When the Da Vinci Code was released, it sparked protests around the world, including the US, India, China, and the Philippines. Many countries outright banned it, including Egypt, Lebanon, Syria, Iran, and Jordan in the Middle East. In Asia, it was banned in Pakistan, some states in India, and China after an initial theatrical run. In the Faroe Islands, the biggest cinema chain, How Nar Bio, took the matter into their own hands by banning the film too.
She rests at last beneath starry skies.
2007, The Simpsons movie.
If you ask me, everybody in this theater is a giant sucker. Especially you!
With their yellow skin and four-fingered hands, the Simpsons are actually quite uncanny. However, it wasn't this lack of realism that got their 2007 movie in trouble in Myanmar. Rather, it was the fact that the ruling military junta didn't like the use of yellow and red in the animation.
I'm using a red arrow, so I know who I kill.
They associated the colors with the flag of the National League for Democracy, a political party whose activities they'd prohibited. The NLD actually went on to rule the country from 2011 until a military coup in 2021, although their rule was not without serious controversy.
Ugh, I hate this job. Everything's crisis this and end of the world that. Nobody opens with a joke. I miss Danny DeVito.
2008, Rambo.
I told you before I can't help you.
Well, we need to go and help these people. We're here to make a difference. We believe all lives are special.
Some lives, some no.
Really? If everyone thought like you, nothing would ever change.
Nothing does change.
We return to Myanmar again for this entry. In 2008, the authorities turned their attention to Rambo. Set in Myanmar, the movie doesn't show their military forces in the best light. Instead, they're violent, oppressive, and cruel. Rambo goes on a graphic rampage to rescue Christian missionaries from the sadistic soldiers. After banning the cinematic release, the Myanmar government cracked down on pirate DVD vendors. If they sold Rambo, they could face up to 7 years in prison. Despite this, bootleg versions are available, and some of the one-liners have been adopted as rallying cries by rebel groups.
Well, it's thinking like that that keeps the world the way it is.
2009, Avatar.
Brother, please, do not attack the Sky People. Many Omaticaya will die if you do. You are not my brother!
At the time of its release, James Cameron's sci-fi epic was the highest-grossing film in history, but it wasn't welcome everywhere. Shortly after its release in China, the government pulled the film from 2D cinemas, allowing it to screen only in 3D. And no, it wasn't to provide viewers with maximum immersion in Pandora. It's speculated that the move was to get more people to go and watch Confucius, a movie about the titular Chinese philosopher produced and distributed by the state-owned China Film Group Corporation. It's also been claimed that the movie's plot, which involves outsiders forcing the Na'vi from their homes, too closely paralleled the plights of Chinese residents facing eviction from property developers.
I'll do it with minimal casualties to the indigenous. I'll drive them out with gas first. It'll be humane. More or less.
2010, a Serbian film.
Da li možda postoji neki način da te ubedimo suprotno?
Ne. Deca mi smetaju, ne mogu da radim takve stvari u obdaništu.
Sometimes the reasons a movie is banned are complex. Not so with a Serbian film, which is packed with disturbing and upsetting scenes. The movie was screened at a festival in Brazil before being banned. Although this decision was overturned in 2012, Australia and New Zealand banned it outright, while South Korea required heavy edits. A court banned the film in Spain, but it was shown nonetheless at an adults-only screening at a film festival, leading to charges against the festival's director, although these were eventually dropped.
Prava, srećna, srpska porodica.
2011, The Human Centipede 2, full sequence.
I want all filth out of my house.
Here's another film that faced unsurprising restrictions around the world, given the level of graphic violence involved. The British Board of Film Classification initially refused to classify The Human Centipede 2 full sequence at all. However, they later made concessions, giving an 18 certificate to an edit that had undergone 32 cuts. In Australia, the film also had to undergo mandatory edits before receiving classification, but in neighboring New Zealand, the DVD was straight up banned. (2012) The Hunger Games.
I volunteer! I volunteer as tribute.
Like Battle Royale, The Hunger Games also involves teens forced to fight each other to the death. As such, it didn't go down well with everyone.
So, contain it.
In the UK, blood had to be edited out for the film to achieve a rating of 12A. The rating means that it's considered suitable for anyone 12 and up, or for younger children when accompanied by an adult. In Vietnam, however, the film was volunteered as tribute for indefinite delay and later banned outright, due to the violence depicted.
Thank you for your consideration.
2013, The Wolf of Wall Street.
The show goes on! This is my home!
Martin Scorsese's film broke the Guinness World Record for its instances of swearing, and this contributed to bans and edits in some countries. Due to its sex scenes, drug use, and profanities, it was banned in Kenya, as well as Malaysia, Nepal, and Zimbabwe. The Kenya Film Classification Board even announced on Facebook that violators of their ban would be prosecuted. In India, Lebanon, and Singapore, certain shots and scenes had to be edited out, particularly those of a sexual nature.
What's wrong, Daddy?
Baby. 2014, The Interview.
Hello, North Korea!
Obviously, North Korea was never going to show a film about assassinating its leader within its borders. However, North Korean authorities also attempted to have the flick pulled abroad, writing to then US President Barack Obama and threatening action against the United States. Sony re-edited the film, but had their systems hacked by a North Korean cybercrime group. Due to threats of terrorism, the film only received a limited theatrical release. Some North Korean defectors in South Korea planned to drop DVDs in North Korea via balloons, but the plan was scuttled when North Korean authorities called it a declaration of war. The film was also prohibited in Russia after lobbying by North Korean diplomats.
Because they ain't us.
They don't hate us because they ain't us. They don't hate us because they ain't us.
I'm used to it. They hate us because they ain't us.
Stop it. Don't say it again.
Haters gonna hate.
2015, 50 Shades of Grey.
If you just signed the contract, you wouldn't have to think
Why do you
about
care so much about the contract, Christian? Don't you like me the way I am?
Of course I do.
And why are you trying to change me?
E.L. James' erotic romance novel may have started out as Twilight fanfiction, but proved enormously popular in its own right. Translating the erotic element to the screen, however, was always going to present problems when it came to censors. The film board in Malaysia gave it a ban, describing it as unnatural and sadistic. It was also banned in Cambodia, Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, India, the United Arab Emirates, and Kenya. In Nigeria, the film made it a week before it was pulled from cinemas. It was allowed in Vietnam, but with all sex scenes cut out. Some of these film boards took issue not just with the sexual nature of certain scenes, but also with the perceived violence, which was interpreted as abuse.
Punishment.
Yes.
Why do you want to punish me?
Anna.
Why do you want to hurt me?
2016, Deadpool. If you've ever read a Deadpool comic, you know about Wade Wilson's love of lewdness and violence. When a film on the Marvel character was announced, some fans worried it wouldn't be faithful to the source material. They were actually relieved when it received an R rating. It wasn't so fortunate in some countries, though. China flat out denied Deadpool a release. It wasn't until 2018 that it was shown at a film festival without edits. The film was also not screened in Uzbekistan, where cinema owners agreed not to show it due to the age restrictions and violations of local ethical norms.
This is confusing. Is it sexist to hit you? Is it more sexist to not hit you? I mean, the line gets real blurry.
2017, Wonder Woman.
This is not something you can cross. It's not possible.
So what? So we do nothing?
Sometimes, even movies are caught in the middle of regional conflicts. Due to star Gal Gadot's mandatory military service in the Israel Defense Forces, Lebanon, Qatar, and Tunisia banned the 2017 epic Wonder Woman. Her comments supporting Israel during the 2014 Israel-Gaza conflict also came into play. The bans were part of the ongoing Arab League boycott of Israel. Gadot's other films like Death on the Nile and Justice League have also received bans in some Arab nations.
At some point, even you have to learn to move on.
Steve Trevor tell you that?
2018, Christopher Robin.
Oh, some honey won't make me feel better. Oh, bother. Somebody seems to have eaten all the honey.
For this one, we have to go back to 2013, when China's President Xi Jinping met with US President Barack Obama. A photo of this meeting gave rise to a meme comparing the duo to Winnie the Pooh and Tigger. From there, whenever Xi met with world leaders or appeared in public, someone on the internet would whip out the comparison to the honey-obsessed bear.
Oh, Pooh, there's more to life than just balloons and honey.
Are you sure?
Silly bear.
Well, Xi apparently was not fond of the memes. Chinese authorities began scrubbing not only the memes, but also Winnie the Pooh in general from the internet, and even video games. This censorship seems to have included a ban on the 2018 film Christopher Robin.
That's a silly explanation.
Why, thank you.
2019, Jojo Rabbit.
You're definitely in a pickle, my friend. What to do?
Ooh, got it! I've
Burn down
negotiated.
the house and blame Winston Churchill.
Are there subjects that comedy is off limits to? Taika Waititi's Jojo Rabbit raised this question with its comical depiction of Nazi leader Adolf Hitler, or at least an imaginary version of him. Not long after Jojo Rabbit had its international premiere, 20th Century Fox announced that they wouldn't be releasing the movie in Russia. According to reports, no reason was provided by the studio for why the Oscar-winning flick was blocked. However, it could have something to do with the Soviet Union having suffered the biggest loss of life in World War II, with over 26 million people. As such, they might not have been comfortable viewing a dark comedy involving the person responsible.
Let them say whatever they want. People used to say a lot of nasty things about me. Oh, this guy's a lunatic. Oh, look at that psycho. He's gonna get us all killed.
2020, Onward.
Put it in O for Onward!
Same-sex relationships continue to be illegal in some countries, with some laws a legacy of colonial rule and others a result of religious sensibilities. The computer-animated fantasy film Onward features a very brief mention of a same-sex relationship when police officer Spectre, a female Cyclops, references her girlfriend.
It's not easy being a new parent. My girlfriend's daughter got me pulling my hair out, okay?
Yeah. This was enough for several nations to prohibit release. The film was banned in Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Oman. Some countries screened edited versions instead. In Russia, for example, girlfriend was changed to partner in line with the country's gay propaganda law, which criminalizes positive portrayals of LGBT relationships.
I need backup! Runaway van!
2021, Eternals.
Tina, play nice. You've never had to fight me.
But I've always wanted to.
Director Chloe Zhao's MCU movie wasn't released in China, reportedly due to comments made by Zhao back in 2013. It was also banned in several Middle Eastern countries for various reasons. First and foremost was the same-sex relationship between Fastos and his husband, Ben.
It ended when you said goodbye.
Marvel stood their ground, refusing to edit it out. As a result, the film was banned in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, and Oman. Another factor in some countries may have been the depiction of gods as potentially blasphemous. Certain countries like Indonesia, Egypt, Lebanon, Jordan, and the United Arab Emirates asked Marvel to edit out all love scenes, which Marvel obliged.
Where is your sense of humor, Kingo?
I'm sorry, sir.
Don't apologize, it's not your fault. You're not a god. You know that, right?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
2022, Lightyear.
Ready, Captain Lightyear?
Ready as I'll ever be, Commander Hawthorne.
To infinity?
And beyond.
A scene showing a same-sex kiss in Lightyear was actually cut from the film before release, but restored following an internal uproar. Employees at Pixar had accused Disney executives of censoring LGBTQ content. At the same time, Disney CEO Bob Chapek was facing backlash over statements about Florida's Don't Say Gay law, which led him to apologize and speak out against the bill. When film boards in various countries requested that the scene be cut, the House of Mouse refused. It was banned throughout much of the Muslim world and in China.
To infinity.
Are you trying to get me to pull your finger?
Don't fall for it.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.